anyhow, by all accounts, we've had a better year on the lake. And what I thought I would do today is just briefly give you a recap, if you will. Most of the stuff we've discussed at our previous meetings, but just quickly go through kind of a bullet point, line by line, because a lot certainly has been accomplished, and we're awfully proud of that. The first thing is general usage of the lake shows continuous improvement. As you know, my office is located in the CVB office, and Donna monitors those numbers pretty closely. And our primary vehicle is bed tax. And each and every year since our bloom year, we're seeing a steady increase. We had the regatta back, as you know, and we had people on the lake. They were texting and calling us on shore, saying that they saw more boating activity for that event than ever before in the history. And I can tell you, as you probably all know as lake dwellers, we saw many, many more people on boats, jet skis, tubes, etc. So it continues in the right direction. We dedicated the Prairie Creek treatment train. That's been a labor of love for a couple of us. There's Peony. More than a labor of love for some. But anyhow, by all accounts, an extreme success. Even with the engineering calculations that we had prior to entering into that initiative, we didn't expect the phenomenal results that we got. And we're leveraging that success, as you know, through Columbus. We're now looking very strongly at more installations actually on our tributaries, instead of having to pump to it, make them flow through some sort of facility that so successfully knocks down that phosphorus count. We're expanding that, as you know. That has been funded. You will see bulldozers out there right now as we speak. The first one's been delivered. Not a lot of excavation will happen this fall and winter, but we're concerned. We want that thing operational by early summer, and so we need a dry property to work with. That is low-lying ground. That's why we bought it. And so what you're going to see, hopefully by now all of you have taken the walking path around our existing installation, and how cool it is. We're going to build the walking path around the new thing, or the new expansion first, because it's going to serve as a dike. Because it's a low-level property, the elevations are right at lake level, and you know, depending on the spring, we can flood pretty well inland. So we're going to build the walking path first to act as a dike and keep that property dry, so we can hit that running, so to speak, and get that excavation done, the plants planted, the ponds dug, so the deep water pools dug. So if everything goes right, by early next spring, you'll see twice the size of that facility, and then we'll be talking about cleansing 60 million gallons a month instead of 30. We're very grateful to Senator Faber. We are now in the process of jumping through the legislative hoops for the LFA. As we've said at past meetings, why that is so very important to us is it gives us legal status. We've had to work harder than we should have going after grants, etc., because we have no legal status, and we've always had to find a sponsor. So that document calls for certain legislative things to happen. Some preliminary meetings have been held, and we're working through that process right now. Again, thanks to Senator Faber, we'll have the 4th dredge on the lake early next year. And we're just extremely excited about that. And that's an overused word, but it's sincere in this case. As you know from recent media, they set a dredging record this year of 302,000 cubic yards. And that's with 3 dredges, and we'll be adding the 4th. The obvious logic here is, as goes the silt, there's a lot of phosphorus with it. Our biggest challenge remains where to put the spoil, and we're working with the state to be their ally and help them through that process. We're going to look at some more in-lake installations, etc. To that vein, it sounds like a broken record at this point, but also is thanks to Senator Faber. In addition to the new dredge, not only, by the way, for our lake, but Indian Lake as well, we've got $2.1 million to focus on Coldwater Creek. As you know from past conversations, we know the pecking order, so to speak, on all our trips in terms of contribution of phosphorus and sediment load to our lake. and Coldwater Creek is number 1. So we're in the design phase of that right now. We'll move to Coldwater Creek, at least with the engineering and the science, and hopefully that commitment was for 2 years, so we can't let any grass grow. We have to keep right on top of that thing. Thanks to the emphasis here, we're extremely delighted, and we certainly want more of them. We know of 5 different areas that are being aerated, and as we've talked so often at our meetings here, dead-end channels are our nemesis. Our dead-end channels represent about 10% of our lake surface, and they lay stagnant and non-circulatory and build up first. So that's a first step. We certainly want more of those, and I'm sure we'll probably keep the subsidy going for more and more and more. What we're hopeful for is like Lions Club did and Rotary did in Salina, that some of the service groups will pick up the sponsorship of that and get those things installed. It's not public yet. I will tell you that things are looking very favorable. We went for a Clean Ohio grant, which was the grant that got us the Prairie Creek treatment train on another property, and things look very favorable. The scoring process isn't done, but surprisingly there weren't a lot of applicants, so the feeling is that we will be granted our request, which will buy between 25 and 29 acres on the southwest corner of the lake for another wetlands there. Both irrigators are safely, everybody asks every year what's the status of the irrigators. They're safely dry docked now, and will be winter repairs and maintenance like everybody does in the off season, but they're safely on ground. We don't have to worry about ice damage, etc. They're located, if anybody wants to see them that's never have seen them, they're behind the state parks office, and they're safe and high and dry. I will tell you the fishing continues to be phenomenal. I was talking to a lot of fishermen as recently as last week, and I can tell you I've fished all my life on this lake, and they are consistently pulling 11-inch crappies out of the lake, and the saw guy are starting to hit the crappie jigs. So all indications, you remember the huge success we had last winter through the ice with the saw guy over by Coldwater Creek. If they're catching the saw guy right now, all indications are it'll be another great year. And people shortchange that fishing aspect, but that's a very strong market for us. We all know, and hopefully we keep on spreading the word, that the fish are safe to eat, and that's fresh dollars coming into our area because they're going to eat dinner, and they're going to eat lunch, and they're going to buy tackle, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. You know the story. So it's good to have that fishing market remain strong. It's interesting, the state has a limit, a size limit. They have to be 9 inches or longer to keep. And I was talking to a bunch of guys last week, and they had their buckets pretty well full, and the 9 inchers look small compared to what they were catching. And they said a year or two ago, if they caught a 9 incher, they were pretty well elated. So that remains a very strong market to us. I can tell you, if you haven't, next spring, please take the walk around the treatment train. It is just an environmental bonanza. We were chatting earlier, the frogs, the turtles, we've got white egrets on there, the geese, of course, and ducks, snakes. It's just amazing what Mother Nature, how Mother Nature finds good water, and it's really a joy to walk around that. And I can tell you, one of our own teammates, Terry Mesher's son, which just delights me. How old's Ben?
He's 11.
He's only 11. And I'm an outdoorsman, so it really trips my trigger when the youth come on and learn those skills. Well, the muskrats have also found our treatment train. And we've got muskrat houses in numerous places, but Ben has been out there with his dad and are having success. But more importantly, he's learning about the outdoors. And that's another thing that just is delightful. So, you know, on that expansion, we're hoping, well, I shouldn't say we hope it's there. We had a lot of excess dirt left, and we just piled it up. We're going to take the dirt from this installation also and have a service road to it, and we're going to provide a sledding hill for the south side for the youth to enjoy too. And we're talking about maybe an Eagle Scout and embracing the idea of an elevated platform so you can get a panoramic view of the whole facility. So a lot of exciting things are going. We're reaching out to the south. I spoke to Versailles, I spoke to Troy, and I spoke to Pickle fairly recently. And that's a strong market for us, and we want to invite those people in or back home because all they have is the media to go by, and as you know, sometimes they tend to go on the negative when there are so many positive out there. So with that said, thank you all for all your support this year. It was a good year by all accounts, and we're looking forward to a much better year in 2014.